Welcome to DePuy Military Hall. Been here since 1942. We are standing in the Professor of Military Sciences office. So a lot of you that, well, all of you that have gone through this program, you've been in this office one time or another. Maybe you found out that you got that active duty assignment that you wanted, or you're excited because you're getting into the National Guard or the Reserves. So this is a real special place, a real historic place. What I want to show you as far as building, as far as our building improvements go, we were fortunate enough to get new drywall in this room and then the office next to us, which is the Senior Military Science Instructor's office, the Senior NCO's office. One thing I do want to show you before we leave this room, we are working on getting new doors put in, and this is for student safety and cadre safety. For you have a student and you're lecturing or you're talking to them or whatever, other people that are walking by can see what's going on in that office to keep both safe. So we need 7 of those. That's the first one that was put in, and then right now the guys are working on putting in the second one, and then when that's done, this entire side of the building is going to be done as far as doors go. And then another thing that we had put in 2004, when the Union was being rebuilt, the Union needed us as far as serving meals and everything. So in exchange, they put in new windows, which really helped out, because if you were here, even back in my day in the 90s, the wind blew and it was really cold. So we're very fortunate to have those. And also this entire room was re-drywalled and painted as well. So now we're outside of the office, and everybody remembers this area. It's set up the same. The flags are set up the same, at least how they were back in the early 90s when I was here. General DePuy, we're still honoring him with all of his stuff, and this area was just repainted. We wouldn't do any drywall with this just because of what the walls are made of. But an area that we do want to drywall, but we did not have an opportunity to, is the break room. This is the cadre and student break room. What we wanted to do is we wanted to hide all this conduit, and this stuff, this is just press board, is all that is. It's, it would look so much better if we could hide that stuff and really get this room looking good. And as we pan over, you can see the new windows. And then there's some stuff, we don't even know what that is, all that wiring and everything that's been there forever. It's probably outdated. We could have an opportunity to either cover it up or just get rid of it. Before we leave this room, I want to show you, we used actually our cadre funds to buy a fridge 2 years ago. And one addition to that is an ice maker, which was really nice because you couldn't even get a cube of ice up here. We had SDSU plummet as well. So across the hall is our conference room. This should look pretty familiar to you, a lot of offices over here. It's a little dark right now because we had one of the construction guys accidentally put his foot through the ceiling, so we're still waiting on some lighting, but that's going to be done by the end of this week. What I wanted to point out are the 4 offices that are up here. This is the Assistant Professor of Military Science office, and then this is the Military Science Instructor's office. And if you'll notice, and these are also for our contractor and then for our Gold Bar recruiter. If you notice, they're all solid doors. Again, this room alone, we need 4 of those glass doors, so hopefully we'll be able to make that happen. All right, now we're back down on the first floor. Jason's joining us, and before we move on, we had to show you the iconic stairway that everybody remembers. So we're in the General Myrna Williamson Army ROTC classroom, and I'm sure a lot of you remember spending a lot of time down in this classroom. Thanks to her generous donation, the classroom has been totally updated. It's carpeted now. It used to be a hardwood floor, really ugly walls. We have everything repainted. Dry erase boards. It really looks amazing, and we're really appreciative of that. Now, while we're in here, I had the opportunity to kind of step away from ROTC and just talk general SDSU setup. This is a COVID-19 setup classroom. This classroom typically seats 30 students. Because of COVID, I can only put 11 in here. But if you notice, everybody's spaced out. And then also, as we come back towards the lecture area, you'll notice that there's a big plexiglass that's in front of the professor. And this is going to be the standard for all of SDSU. So here we are on the gym floor. The gym has gone through a lot of changes in the last 20, 25 years. As you remember, the gym used to have 2 courts. They used to run in this direction. Well, now we have one that runs in this direction. And the reason for it, I'm going to show you over here, is there's some permanent infrastructure that was put up due to something that happened in 2004. Well, what happened in 2004 was the union was being remodeled, and SDSU needed our help. And what they did is the infrastructure was built, and they actually served meals in here for quite a while until our new beautiful union was put back in place. So what we have now, which works really great, is this really nice floor, and the floor was actually completely redone about a year ago. It is absolutely gorgeous, and we're very fortunate to have it. So now we're down in the basement, and the basement has had a lot of changes. And about 3 years ago, there was a huge flood down here that I'm sure a lot of you heard of. But with that, though, actually brought some really good improvements. 2 years ago, if you can remember, this used to be just kind of an island all its own. Well, now that's sealed in all the way to the end, and we have restrooms down there with showers and also small lockers. That's the men's side, and then the ladies' room is on the other side. So we're very fortunate to have that. And then we're going to talk a little bit later about the Air Force classroom, but what I want to show you is the door to the Air Force classroom down in the basement has been sealed in, and that's going to make sense a little later when we go into supply. The Army supply room has gone through a lot of changes too, and that is due to the fact that this building only had one way of getting out. And what the university did is they came over and they cut a door for us and put a corridor in that goes all the way to the end, its emergency exit. Now, this was part of the supply room, but even though we lost a little bit of square footage there, we actually gained a bunch of square footage and a lot more useful square footage on the other side, and I'll show you that in a minute. But now, yes, it's a supply room. It's supposed to be messy. Mr. Bierman is our supply person. He does a great job for us. But as you'll notice, this is no longer the student library. This used to be the cadet library down here, and it's now the front office. So the supply person doesn't have to work where all their supplies are. It's a little bit cleaner. But you can see the wall was moved in as well. So that's where that corridor is now. And again, it's a mess. We're getting ready for Operation Agile Leader that I'm going to talk about a little later. But we gained another room. This was the Air Force classroom. Remember I pointed out earlier that door was sealed up. Well, a new door was cut in, and now we have a third side door, or excuse me, a third side room. So it's just a lot easier as far as storage and everything. This is a uniform room. Again, we're going through absolutely everything before we start school. It's a lot cleaner room. So we're not storing cleaning products and MREs and all that stuff that messes up uniforms. We can really get more organized, and it's a lot more efficient space. We're downstairs in the range, and unfortunately the range was also damaged during the flood. We stopped using it, and we decided through the military decision-making process to repurpose it due to the needs of the new Army combat fitness test. What I'd like to show you over here is what our new design is going to look like. It's going to be the Howard Family ROTC training room. And the new physical fitness test requires soldiers to drag weights along turf. And we decided to floor half of this with artificial turf. And then another part of this new test is weightlifting. So the other half is going to be the rubberized coating that you see in a gym, so you can drop a weight on it without messing up the floor. I do want to point out here that it is going to be a joint use facility. So you have Army ROTC, and then you also have Air ROTC. And then if you notice in the center, there's a grid. So what that grid is something that we can use during Leadership Lab. That can be a terrain model kit, where those can be used as grids for a map as well. While we're down here, I'd like to show you what it looks like now. I'm sure that a lot of you have some great memories down here. Where I'm standing used to be there was a big control tower here. We tore all that out actually by hand. It took quite a while, but you can see that that's gone, and as we work kind of around the room a little bit, the cabinets are empty, the weapons were turned in. They actually went to a school down in Iowa who wanted them. And then if you look around a little bit, I'm sure that you can remember the scoring wheels and the shooting lanes and everything else. But this is going to be a beautiful facility once we can get this project going. We're going to be very proud of it, and we're very excited about it.
So 24 years ago, when I was learning how to form up for the very first time, it was about this spot on our drill floor. But because of some renovations that have gone on since then, now we have an Air Force classroom right here. I'll give you a look at. So we've got a nice classroom here. We're getting our COVID spacing all set up here so we can maintain our 6 feet separation. We're going to have room in here for 16 students, which will take care of all of our classes the way we're split up. We'll have some desks down the middle here, and we'll be able to do our classes. So I'm standing in the basement now at the bottom of the steep stairs that you probably remember walking down. And for a long time, as you walk down these stairs through this door, you're greeted by Bonnie's smiling face for many years. Because of the damage caused by the flood, those offices where the cadre were moved upstairs into what I remember as a classroom 20 years ago. And now our classroom is off the drill floor upstairs. All right, so we're standing out in front of DePuy Military Hall now. A lot of construction going on as we speak. You notice there used to be a road out in front of the hall here that is now gone. We've got a super sidewalk that's going in, so instead of vehicles going back and forth, it's just going to be a walkway for pedestrians. There's going to be more greenery throughout this area here. Look down the way here, the Memorial Park. We've got the flagpoles that were put in as part of that project. And then if you look at the military hall itself, back what I remember was kind of a salmon color. You can see now that it's been repainted. There's new windows, new doors. A lot of things have been done to the building, really looking good. And where there used to be a flagpole here, that has now been moved over to the administrative building. So that's no longer in this place because of the flags next door with the Memorial Park. A lot of work being done, obviously a lot of work ongoing right now, and everything's looking really good.